Hello everyone, welcome to Meshery Development Call. Today is January 3rd and this is the first Wednesday of this new year. So first of all, Happy New Year to everyone. And this is the Meshery Development, this specific call in which we will be discussing different enhancements and progress made into different areas of Meshery. Meshery is a CNC project, if you don't know, and it's help you manage your Kubernetes clusters and environments. Basically, manage a cloud native application across multiple clusters in a collaborative way. So before moving forward, we have a couple of agenda items, but few things to notice, like make sure you add your names in the meeting minutes. I've shared the link in the chat for that. And the second thing is, let's ensure that all our newcomers feel at home and they're given a chance to introduce themselves. So let's see. Um, Lakshay Satpal, are you new on this call? Would you like to introduce?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm new to this community. Uh, my name is Lakshya Satpal. I am a fourth year undergraduate student at IIT Kharagpur, and I'm currently studying mathematics and computing. My technical knowledge is mostly around full stack development. I'm currently learning Golang and moving to building some CLIs with Golang. So yeah, that's it. I'm
Yeah.
from Jodhpur in India.
Yeah, that's cool. So did you get a chance to run the project and see it? Like, did you
Yeah.
already? Yeah.
Uh, I contributed to the documentation section, and currently I also uh, ran the Meshery CTL locally, the
Mm,
command line. Yeah,
that's cool. Okay. Thank you for your introduction.
thank you.
Um, Next, I think is Pratyush Madhu. Are you non new in this call?
Already introduced and have attended previous meetings too. Yeah, so
Have you also joined the development call before?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think I missed it. Thank you.
Okay.
Uh, Sumit Sahu, are you also new on this call?
Yeah, hello guys. My name is Sumit Sahu, basically from ITM Gwalior, and currently I'm pursuing a course of full stack developer and wanted to enhance in the world of contributing my skills and want to grow and help others. So that's from my side.
You. Okay, that's cool. Next, I think Mitul, are you also new on this call? Would you like to introduce?
Me?
Um, Mitul,
Oh,
can you hear us?
have I had to do it?
Okay. I think there's some technical issues, so I think we can move forward. You can also introduce in the chat. So I think first item is from Sinali on workspaces. Sinali, would you like to take over?
We have the workspace space in Meshery Cloud extension and also in Meshery UI. So I have added few enhancement to the workspace. So now we can assign any environment to a workspace and also uh, themes or design for the workspace. So previously there's no scroll loading for this item. So right now I have added that new feature. So once we scroll like the all the registers loading, so we can easily like transfer all item from here. If we need, like we can select and transfer for each item. So then we can save that. Likewise, I have added that a few improvements. So yeah, any feedbacks or thoughts?
And we do
Now
we have the same thing? Okay. I was just asking, like, we have the same functionality in Meshery as well, right? Or is there
yes,
anything missing now?
Yeah, we have same thing like, but we didn't have the team assignment, the workspace. Other than that, like everything is similar. And also, if we can also add those stats in Meshery UI as well, I think.
Sonali, say it again. You can also add what? The text or?
The statistics, like right now we have it only for cloud. We can implement same thing in Meshery as well.
And are we showing the events as well for workspaces?
Yes, it is only for the cloud, I think.
Okay.
But we can show that as well, like if we have that API support there. That's,
Sonali, is this merged?
yes, this one.
Nice. In Meshery UI?
Yes,
Oh, nice. Did you end up doing a new assistant release?
not yet. Like I just finalized the transfer model today.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
we will
gotcha. Okay.
update that.
Yeah. Hey, so this is cloud. I wonder if are you considering an enhancement around the elimination of some of the white space on the back of the card in order to display a few more recent activities? Oh yeah, if you aren't, maybe you would consider one at the bottom there. Very good. You also might, I don't know, something to think about. You might consider the left-hand column being the timestamp. Maybe not. But sure is pretty. And I like the attention that you've paid to the check mark as well, the styling of the check mark on that back. That's great. And so on the front, it looks like, Ritik and you and others that have worked on this, you have, well, there's just so many statistics and so many resources to configure between environments, teams, and designs, and then statistics about each of them directly, and then events or sub resources that they have. So there's a lot to convey on the front of the page. So here in cloud, we're letting the user know what organization this workspace belongs to. That's sort of implicit to, like, there's a couple of things about this. One is, I guess I'd be curious as to what we're displaying there in Meshery UI, if not organization. And then to throw you for a loop, I would ask you if the particular organization to which to which a workspace belongs, that's really only interesting to provider admins, which of the overwhelming majority of users will be uninteresting and would be a duplication based on the fact that they're already viewing everything in context of an org. Something to think about. Perhaps that's a better use of that space for the description. I don't know. Thoughts? I asked two questions in one at once. So what does it look like inside of Meshery UI for instead of org? What do you have?
We
Org.
show the organization here, and in backside we show the description.
Okay. Any thoughts? Okay, go have some thoughts, because there's probably something that needs to change. Do you agree or no?
Yes, I will think about that.
Good. Yeah, good. Yeah, it may not be as clear as to what to do in Meshery UI. In Cloud, it's still slightly confusing. You want to lean into the 97% of users that, or 99% of users that won't care about seeing the org because it is implicit to their context already. And so you want to lean into that, in making that, serving them first. Cool. It's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This is almost the cornerstone of what people are going to work with in Meshery going forward. So good. Anybody else have feedback? Other people have questions? What the heck is a deployment? For those of you who are trying to catch up with part of the feedback that's being given, the context switcher next to the user profile in the upper right-hand corner, it says test organization. That's the particular organization under which the user is browsing the interface. They can switch between orgs. And then once they've done that, they can go work with workspaces or environments, or they can go do things. And so to the extent that the front of the card of a workspace, well, it reinforces the fact that they are currently within the test organization, but it also becomes quite redundant that every single workspace card that they would see would say test organization. And so it's arguably not the best use of that space, considering that a description that helps people understand that, yeah, so maybe the description fits better there, maybe not, but things to think about. Ritik, did you have any input on this?
Yeah, it makes sense. Like we can remove the organizer from the front of the card for the normal users. Obviously, yeah. For the description, like if we add organization, we have to think of, if we add the description at the front of the card, then the card will be very long in the height. So it's fine. Like we can just.
I think regarding that, like it's not more than 3 lines, so I think it will fix for the front side. We
Yeah,
have
then we will
limited.
truncate that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, then we can show the description at the front. And yeah, for more information, we can show some information at the right top or the right top corner, because we have space there. Yeah. Yeah. Also, similarly, if you go to the workspace in Meshery UI. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because we are using different arrows here and in the cloud.
Oh, okay. I will check that. Right.
Yeah. Also, just one last. No, I realized that I thought designs widget is not there, but yeah, it's so. Any other suggestions for Sonali?
Sonali, can you please open the Meshery cloud? I had a question that the information which we are showing on the right hand side, that is the test organization. Can that be different of the workspaces which we are viewing? See, the workspace 2 is showing test organization. So whatever workspace we have, it will be of that particular organization that is on the top right.
Yes. Like when we switch it back, like it shows the workspace of that organization.
Okay, so wouldn't that be redundant that we are showing those test organization there too, and on the top right that is visible too? So
It would be. It would almost be as redundant as giving that same feedback twice on the. Yep, Schlock, you're totally right. That's what we've been talking about. You're right. Anybody else have feedback? That's unique. Schlock. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you're right. Totally, man.
Yeah, one thing that in Meshery, right, like, we are not showing the organization name directly from here. So like for if we show the organization name on the front of the card here, else user will have to navigate to the like, to the preferences from there then
Yeah,
because we are showing the organization name there.
I'm sure.
Yes. Basically, I think it's better to remove because for a given organization, all the workspaces will just belong to that. So I think it's better to remove it. And yes, so okay, so moving on. Thank you, Senali, Ritik, and others. Next item is about from Pushkar on discuss some possible approach to delete all events in notification center. Um, Pushkar, are you with us on the call? Okay, I think he's not with us. So moving on to the next item. It's from Saurabh on celebrating discussion forum champions. Saurabh.
Yes, thank you, Brenda, for like calling this out. I will just show my screen. Yeah, so we are showing first Discuss Forum champions of this year. So about Discuss Forum, you can post your queries or your questions onto the Discuss Forum, and you can also use the / command on Discuss Forum with post with it. So this year we have these two people. Actually, we have three. Three people. We have three people for different categories, but we have two people. So first is Gyan Prakash receiving most likes. Next up, we have Slok Mishra for creating most topics. And at last, we have Gyan Prakash again for most post leads. So kudos to every one of you. And also, please consider like starring Mystery Repository. Stars are crucial for our project. Yeah, thank you. I will just share the link for discuss forum.
Okay. Anybody wants to add on anything for the discussion forum champions? Okay, then thank you, Saurabh. Next item is from Uzair on connection auto registration and server log level and other updates.
So in our previous meeting, I showed you like how you can register uh, a connection with your Meshery server. So and this is and further enhancement in which there is I'm adding an ability to auto register connections for. So the context is like is a controller which is deployed and it continuously watches for all the changes inside the cluster and updates Meshery server. So Meshery server can take action at that point of time so that if the discovered resources has a potential of being upgraded to connection, so we should support that and a new connection entry should be added and it should be run through all of the stages of the connections and everything. So
Yeah.
this PR talks up. Yeah.
Are you going to do a demo of that by chance?
No. No, it is not complete. So the thing that is left is whatever
Oh.
messaging discovery logic we have like lacks the support of like the user sessions and connections and for what user it is being discovered and for what machine instance and these logic is like missing from the current logic. So this part of inclusion of session and is remaining. So I need to include just that because like if
Yeah.
I want to make an entry inside a remote provider, I need like so yeah.
Yeah.
So this is
No. Yeah, I didn't mean to signal. No, please finish that statement.
yeah. So if I want to like make any entries or update the database I need, like for what user, for what environment, for what machine instance this was registered, this is registered again. So that support is like lacking right now.
Do you have a plan for that? That's a little, some of those might be hard, or you might have a plan for all of them. Do you happen to have a plan for all of them?
I have a plan for only like inclusion of user ID and machine instance ID, and I think if I get to that, most of the things would be covered, because the with the help of like mapping between user ID and connection, I can also an instance ID I can get to workspaces and environments. I think to that as well.
Yeah, got you. Yeah. And to the extent that currently, environment and workspace assignment are not required to register, you might be able to get away without them to start with in the future, but they're, yeah. In the future, it'd be nice if they were registered, if they were assigned, but
Yeah, so yeah, and my plan is to only include like user ID and instance ID, everything. And this was about auto registration of connection. So anyone else have any query or doubt or anything else? Yes, go on.
I still, I just haven't seen a, not auto registration, but I don't know that I've seen demoed end to end a functional manual
I think
registration.
you missed the previous meeting in that I showed you. You can watch the recording. Yeah. And the second update was like there was a minor enhancement in which you can change the log levels for Meshery server at runtime. So the steps to follow has been added into Meshery docs, and I will just briefly go through. So the default log level is info level, and if you want to change the log level at runtime, you just need to update this environment variable. You can reference this chart, and based on that, the log level will get updated. But when you start your server, if you provide debug equal to true, this environment variable, that environment variable like will override this log level environment variable, and the log level will be again set to debug. So debug is like a most higher order has a higher order precedence over this environment variable. Okay. And the other updates include the improving the status indicators. So if you have logged on to playground, you must have also like Arabiha. There is a small light indicator around the Kate's context switcher, which has two states. Right now, it has only two states, green and gray, which indicates like whether your Kubernetes whether Meshery server is able to communicate with all of the controllers and Kubernetes connection. So but there might be cases like the only the Boolean flag or like gray or green is not sufficient, but there should be an more light indicators, like for each of the states there should be a light indicator. So right now we are lacking that ability. So I was working around adding that and ensuring we do it in general and not only for Kubernetes. And I also, after I complete this PR or in the same PR, I will also add the docs for regarding it, like what those indicators are and what should you expect in which situation, in what situations. Lee, any thoughts on this? Because I
Yeah, just
saw your comment.
both of those are both of those still in draft just yet? I know the one about auto registration is still in draft based on what you just said, and it sounds like you kind of have a plan.
Yeah, this is also in draft.
Okay, and there might be one or two other people that have a comment here because part of this pertains to something. Yeah, thanks, Akshay. Part of this pertains to something that Sandra, I think, is giving some consideration to. So Sandra, the proposed status colors, or the colors that indicate the health of a given Kubernetes connection. The Kubernetes connection is a little bit special because it's a platform connection, and we support deployment of the mesh sync and the Meshery operator. And so there's a lot to track. And so and so there are, that's what this PR is. There might be questions there. There's also questions that I like. If ideally we would be using a color scheme from Systent that's about the notifications. I would think I would think that the color, I'll just say it for a third time. I would think that the colors here are would be the same as the notification colors. There's a set of notification colors. So if you've used Meshery, the UI, you've seen these little toast notifications coming at the bottom. And they are of potentially 4 different colors. For the most part, you usually either see blue, green, or red, or, variants of blue, green, or red. Sometimes you'll catch a yellow in there. Are you thinking of using that same scheme, that same coloration?
Yes.
Okay. And these, I think one of the bones that I had to pick here was potentially that these colors were being identified like somewhat specific to the Kubernetes connection, and maybe I'm confused, but that these states weren't necessarily being defined for all connections, like a status. I don't know, the status field right now determines like a variety of other states between discovered, not discovered, or I'm sorry, discovered, not found, registered, connected, etc. And this is like a sub, or yeah, is this a
Yeah.
substatus?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is a substatus.
Okay, that's an interesting item, and that pertains to any connection that, where basically Meshery has multiple touch points. So it's like, in order for Meshery to have a healthy relationship with a Kubernetes connection, it's like, can Meshery talk to Kube API? And that's kind of the core connection status, if you will. And then beyond that, it's like, is the Meshery operator deployed? Is Mesh sync up? Is the broker doing all right? And so there's a few. So, and I wonder if this next thought might change your mind. Or might save you some work. If you didn't have the concept, if you avoided the concept of a connection substatus, and you reflect on the fact, I think, that Meshery operator and Mesh sync both receive their own chips, so to speak, in the UI, that they are both their own connection. They both get represented as entities that have been discovered inside of the Mesh sync UI, and they both get subsequently auto-registered very shortly as their own individual sub-connections. But to the extent that they are a first-class connection, they might have a first-class status. But that may not be this status. So this is a long-winded comment, and I apologize to everyone. This is a little bit confusing that I'm about to stick my foot in my mouth, I think, or to suggest that, like, well, the substatus that's being tracked here is about, real-time presence, real-time awareness, real-time status of the health of the connection is another way of saying it. Is like, if you can go to the UI or something, maybe to help clarify for everyone else, maybe even including us. If you're looking at the connections inside of Meshery, and whether you're doing that from Meshery UI or cloud, you will inevitably see a particular state associated with that connection. When an entity, when an entity is a resource, is first discovered by Meshery, it will be itemized, listed under the mesh sync area, under the connections area. But under connections, there's a staging area. Yeah, we reset your password earlier just to play a trick on you. I don't know if you. Oh, it's logging in. Okay. I don't know if any of you have ever shown up to work and you like bring your badge, you swipe it across the door, and it doesn't work, and then you get a little nervous. You swipe it again, and it doesn't open. You're like, what did they fired me. I'm done. And then you swipe it the third time, you're like, oh, okay, just. So anyway, third time's a charm. When this finally comes up, and I'm curious is this happening to anyone else on the playground? Are we having an issue in the playground or? Anyway, to try to be concise, maybe instead of explaining it to everyone, perhaps there's a sub status is warranted to the extent that that is about health, not administrative status. The current statuses that we have, not found, discovered, connected, etc., those are administrative statuses. The connection itself, the real-time health of the connection is like implicitly spoken to when we show a green connected. It's presumed that there's an active communication going on, but second to second, that may or may not be true. And that's actually
Yes.
what you're tracking here.
I also had a thought of like similar thought that you tried to explain, like having a instead of having a sub status include directly inside the main connection, but I quickly had to like forego that thought because of the same thing, because it that status is like a health status and not an administrative thing. Yeah.
Or good. So are you making sub status first class citizen of the connection schema? I would encourage you to give that some thought. Health status versus what
Okay.
status.
Okay.
At
Yeah,
administrators.
yeah, so these were the updates, and yeah, pretty much everything.
Okay, thank you, Uzair. I think next up is Abid. Abid would like to go.
Actually, I think it got deleted. So
Okay.
let me share my screen. Actually, I had a small thing to share today was about call for volunteers. So recently we have the assistant has matured and all of the primary icons that we use are now in assistant, and there are also like the components that we use across our front end projects are now in assistant, and we are continuously developing on that path. So the thing that I wanted to share is like we are trying to move Mesh UI to properly take advantage of what's in assistant. And on that thought, so I was trying to ask like call for volunteers regarding moving the icons that we have in Meshery to assistant. Right now we use a few different varieties of icons, some directly from MUI and some which are created as SVG. So we need to get rid of that and just reuse from assistant, and it should be fairly straightforward because those icons don't depend on anything related to MUI or whatever the version it is. So that should be a straightforward migration for Meshery. So it's a call for volunteers. Anybody who is interested can drop in chat. I will create an issue for it and we can start on that. Questions or anything about this?
Yeah, there's to the extent that you're looking for a little bit of engagement, maybe you could just quickly describe Systent real fast and the notion that there's a halfway done website for it that you could.
Yeah, Assistant is our own design system, which we started, I think, working on a couple of months back, and which is home for all of our reusable components and mostly also some hooks and also for SVGs and icons. So started a couple of months back, and now right now it's kind of matured enough to be used across products. We are already using it in Meshery Cloud, and now we are moving on to use it extensively inside Meshery UI also. So it's our own design system home to reusable components, SVGs, and also some other usable logic across our projects like maybe React hooks or Redux packages or anything that is mostly on reusable on UI. There is actually also a website for it, which I think there is only a couple of issues to be fixed on the website, and it should also be good to be up and running. I think we should revive those PRs also regarding the website of system, because then it will be more helpful to use stuff for it because there is documentation there.
Nice. Yeah, and that new site is using Gatsby JS as a framework. It really just has, I think, one. There's an open PR. Lakshay. It's not Lakshay. It's Lakshaya. Shia. Lakshya. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Lakshya.
Oh wait. Say the last part again. It's what?
Lakshya.
Lakshya. That's what I
Yeah.
said. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Lakshya. Yeah. Hey, thanks for volunteering. That's wonderful. There's an open pull request that uses Gatsby, and if you, or maybe it stale botted out on us. I'm not sure. Sarah, you might be able to find it. But Lakshya, you would be able to. You'd probably want to pick up from there because there's a fair bit that's been completed within there, but it's halfway is probably about. There's a lot of missing reusable components within there. There's some anyway. The individual that was working on it before, she moved quite fast. She was doing really well, but ended up running into a bug where you can build the site using Gatsby develop. Or like the Gatsby CLI, Gatsby develop. But if you do Gatsby build, then there's some, it's been a while, but you'll see it when you try to do it. There's a couple of folks that are, that spend quite a bit of time with this project. Because it gets, this is a centralized project that, where we're building out reusable components, which I'm repeating what Abid said.
So this is like Gatsby is like a different framework in TypeScript, or like I'm new to it. I've done work in React and TypeScript, but
Gatsby is just a like static site generation framework for React. It mostly uses the same things that is in
Okay,
React,
okay.
a bit of different configuration. Just
Okay, then it would work for me. Yes, if it's TypeScript, then I can work in it.
yeah, we are using I think plain JavaScript, but React in JavaScript, not TypeScript. I think.
Okay, got it.
Thank you, Abid and others. Next up is me. Hopefully my screen is visible. I have two items. First is like there was a recent issue in our playground. Like earlier, if you would go to our playground, you would realize that this specific relationship actually just it's one of the relationship what not being registered, and due to that relationship actually helps you visualize your annotations and labels. It's called tag set, and the issue was in a registration process wherein the last value, basically the last file was not being actually registered by a registry. So like it was a small issue in a channel that we were using for registration process. So if you now go to playground, if you go to settings, actually settings have a registry UI, so there you can actually confirm what is being registered. And now if you go, you'll see that the specific match label is available. That means if you go to we go to mesh map and try to visualize your infrastructure, you will see all the tag set, basically a visualization that shows all the relatable components if you provide matching labels or annotations. So I don't think there should be any questions on this. So anybody has any questions?
Yeah, this might actually, I think you might be, maybe if you have multiple things to talk about, then maybe Vaibhav shouldn't go next. But if you don't, this would be an excellent transition to some of his One thing that I would want to highlight here really fast is for Vaibhav and Yash. Notice the left-hand side where it says parent, 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 parent. But you can't really, it's a guessing game as to which one of those is your actual parent, or which one of those is the one that you're interested in. UX things like that can be easily addressed, and just they should be on a list somewhere. Nice. Pranav, you have other things to talk about.
If actually I have one discussion about OCI, like we can discuss about that, but I don't have a prototype. So if you want to discuss on this first, we can. Then we can move to that.
Yeah. Yash, Vaibhav, do you guys have things that you're tracking here?
Hello.
Oh.
Actually, that tree view issue, which was previously closed, can I share my screen?
Yep.
So, as you guys can see here, here is this window should cover the whole screen. So this issue was closed, but I think it is supposed to be reopened. So it is working fine in the desktop view, but here, as we can see, the window length is not fully covered.
Yeah.
In the mobile view.
Yeah, totally. Very good. I'm interrupting to say that in desktop view, can you prove it? It's working well?
Yeah. Yeah, actually it is working well in mine.
Okay, because on this UI right here, it ain't,
Yes.
unless I'm confused. And the UI might be lying to me, where you see the bottom match labels and you see the left-hand side sort of root, the tree root or indicator, the dash, yeah. See how those just keep going down as if there was going to be more? And so there's something that's indicating that there might be more. When there actually is, like this, to your point, and you're proving it now, it does work.
Yeah, it is working fine in desktop. The problem is, I think so, is in the responsiveness of this UI. It is not covering in mobile view.
There might be issues like the UI might be using JavaScript to determine the height of the window, and that's causing issues. Like I've seen in a couple of places we use JavaScript and it's just bad. So if you see, it might be a fix to move to CSS wherever possible.
Yes, I think so. Someone was working on this issue. Someone called Dhananjay, and the PR is still open.
Like you can check on that PR if the contributor is still around. Maybe we need to revive that. You
Yes,
can take a look.
and another issue that came into my notice is in here, the collapse button is collapsing, but the expand button is also collapsing. It should expand this view, but it is also collapsing the UI.
I think this one is also stripping because like you can see something is below and it's getting hidden. Maybe you can do one thing, like you can put all of these observations somewhere, write it down, because we usually end up missing them, because these are all important bugs to fix.
Okay, I will raise the issue on the Meshery repo.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's on from my side.
Okay. Hey there. Yash, as you and Vaibhav potentially spend a little time together or sort of exchange notes, I think you've identified a spot to exchange some of those notes. Yash, there's some of the softer side of the utility that users find inside the registry where a number of bugs lie. In other words, outside of just like technical issues around responsiveness or performance or there's
Making sure
just
like making sure that it properly gives the confidence to the admins that whatever it is showing is like proper.
yeah, and useful because it might be accurate, but it still might not be really answering the question, might not be helping. So part of, yeah, just as a general statement, anytime that anybody's working on a feature or a bug or understanding the user flow, like what the user is trying to accomplish on that interface. And it could be 15 different things, but just having some of those in mind or explicitly writing them down. There's a reason why there's a role as a product manager, because writing them all down can take a while and documenting them and keeping them up to speed. But you'll want to do it. So.
Okay. I think I'm next. I can go ahead and share the screen. So I added, I hope I'm properly well. So I added the castle implementation in the Meshery, and let me give you a small context like what actually that means is. So this is an UI framework that we will be using in the Meshery to make sure which user gets what access. So if you are, for example, if you are an org admin, or if you sign up in the Meshery cloud and you are the org admin, you can invite other users and you can assign the roles to the users, and on the basis of that you can make sure that which person gets what access in your organization and team. So this UI permission framework will help us over here. We have that implementation already inside the Mishri clouds. So if you want to test that thing, I will recommend you to go and explore the Mishri cloud and try assigning some roles, assigning some teams to other users. And on the basis of that, you can like easily get an idea of what that access means. So yeah, so that same implementation need to be implemented in the Mishri UI. So this implementation will help you to manage that thing from cloud itself. So yes, so I added the castle setup already, and there are a few more bugs like dark dark mode bugs which I was also fixing. There is one more thing I also added is adding the analysis for importing the components. We were saying previously a few import errors recursively, and the only reason because is that we have those dot dot and slash dot paths. That's why. So what I did is that I added the analysis, which will help us to remove these kinds of away from these kinds of import errors. So yeah, and some of the pages I already done with the castle, few are left, and most likely I will merge this today. And yeah, if you have any question, one after this, I will also write the document contribution doc, so that if you want to contribute in this area and how you can contribute, I will also document that. So yeah, if anyone have any questions.
I just want to confirm one thing, like currently, are we storing the keys in the session storage or in the Redux store?
We are storing in the session storage.
And if someone switches the organization, then they have to log back or log in, or it's like automatically it does that.
It updates actually. If you switch the organization, it automatically updates the abilities of Castle abilities, also updates the session story. So you don't need to like relog in or refresh anything. You can just switch the page and it will reflect on the UI. So if I will wait for 5 more seconds. If anyone have more question, I will switch to the next topic.
ETA? Oh,
Yeah, today. Most
oh
likely
wow.
today.
Yeah, good. Wonderful.
Yeah, regarding ETA. So
Hey,
before
wait. Just actually, I'm sorry, Josh, if I may, just there's a number of Meshery maintainers that are on the call here, and as we go to kick off the new year, we go to kick off the .8 planning, and some of those features are underway, and I do want to highlight for some of the Meshery maintainers that well, these two concepts that Yash is implementing, they've been around for a long time, but they're kind of a big deal, especially to the extent that Meshery is considered something of an engineering platform, or is quite extensible. We talk about extension points, and we consider for extensions all the time, and we get demos of various extensions on this call. This is one of those rather significant extension points. This particular, what this is doing is interlacing another extension point across every single page in Meshery UI. And it is, well, it's about recognizing that different users have different, well, permission, different access within Meshery. This framework, and using this next pull request that Yash is going to speak to, this framework takes a look at the user's session, analyzes whether or not the user has specific permission keys in their session. So once they've authenticated, their local session gets a copy of those permission keys. And every time that a user requests a page from Meshery UI, that I forget what Castle stands for, but this JavaScript library helps provide a facility to just check to see, is it appropriate? Like, can this user click the button? Can this user even see the button? Should the button be grayed out? And it just does actually a very simple conditional logic. Just, is this key present? Does this user have this key? If not, I just use two examples, like show the button or disable the button, or it might, or there are other examples other than just clicking a button, like show this section at all or redirect them. Or now, granted, we talk about this in terms of permissions, and those are the use cases that we're focused on. There are other entitlements or other questions that could be asked about the user's session that aren't necessarily specific to permissions, because this is just a conditional, like, is this key present? And so so anyway, oh boy. Anyway, all this is written down. We've been talking about it for a long time. It's kind of hard to be concise about it. This becomes very extensible. What we're trying to do is not so much focus on client side or JavaScript side enforcement of permissions, because that wouldn't really fly. You're only fooling yourself thinking that you can actually do that. What we're really focused on here is a user experience, so that the same components and the same UI can be built and available to all users. If a user visits, and we might have lost Yash, but if a user visits the settings page in Meshery, they may or may not be entitled to delete a connection. Oops. This is in the playground. Uh-oh, it went away. Anyway, bad joke for some of you, but the point of what I'm trying to say is, like, this user signed in, he signed in the playground. This perp is like messing with the connections, and maybe this person shouldn't be allowed to delete them. And that's what this thing that we're working on is about. But to the extent that Lakshay is signed in, he should be able, or that user should be able to delete it. So it just makes it such that the UI is built in the same way. But in real time, depending upon who's signed in, they get certain things, the behavior changes.
Okay. Considering Yash have some technical issue, but thank you, Yash, for your explanation and your topic. Next is Akshay.
Yeah. I have a couple of small updates to share. One is about the comment popover, which is like the option we give to select what type of comment we want, resolved, open, and all. So Google support one more, which is for me or for you comments, and that was implemented in this sphere. Though the algorithm might be expensive right now because it searches all the available messages in a particular comment, and there might be some ways to reduce the complexity, and like Yash is not here, otherwise it would be a great to give some suggestions about it, and or if anybody else have how to decrease the complexity, because right now we don't have the mentioned user in a particular message of a particular comment. So we to get the particular mentioned, whether or not it is mentioned for you or not, we are searching all the messages. So this like increase the complexity. This is the main algorithm by which I get the whether or not a particular comment have a message where you are mentioned or not. This is quite expensive, not for now, but it will be if there are like thousands of comments, then that would create an issue. Moving on, more rates there. So another PR is to give user ability to provide or change the styles of different edges, and I incorporated every type of edge that Cytoscape enables. So this PR is also awaiting a review, and the SVGs are still like the great ones which Ritik created, and yeah, thanks to him. Any reviews or any comments on this one?
Actually, the upper right-hand corner, that style edge that seems to connect from within the node, is that the default library behavior, or is there a ghost node involved here?
Oh, it's the default one.
Do you know what that's called?
That's haystack.
Oh, okay.
The edge type. Yeah, it was also mentioning the same thing. Like this is kind of makes things confusing, and because there is no arrowhead in this one, so we might be removing that from.
Yeah, do you know on the right hand side where the two edges stop? That's not, they're not in exactly the center, nor are they in exactly the same place. Does the edge stop precisely where the user dropped their mouse, or is that just programmatically determined by the library?
It's by the library.
Okay.
So maybe we shouldn't use this one because this might create bunch of confusion.
Yeah, maybe keep it in the back pocket for a special type of relationship, like pull it out later when,
Okay.
Now, just for the last point of clarification, in the lower right-hand corner, we've got a thicker edge on the left-hand side, and it goes to a skinnier edge on the
this one?
right-hand side. Yeah, is that that's just style, or is that a different edge type?
This is a different edge type. It's
Okay.
called straight triangle. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fairly unimaginative, but yeah, fairly accurate. Good, cool.
So this one is also awaiting review. Another is a small one where I shift the whole operations on the Pamela, like delete, duplicate, and different log based on the capabilities, and shifted it to the context menu. And all the reviews that I got, I like as per the requested review, I finished this PR also. And another is image adding functionality via link. Now, I also added the ability to directly give the SVG component if they want, and it can inject the SVG inside the node itself. It's not, but it shows a input box, and then there where you can paste the image link or directly paste the SVG component, and it will render the node with the particular image.
There's a nice looking icon that you've got in the menu. The point of clarification is the URL that's provided to retrieve the image. So first of all, like JPEGs, PNGs, SVGs, those are all okay?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe even a WebP or a
I
GIF.
tried like most of them, even WebP. Some links don't work, but even some of the same data type works. So it might be a problem of some URLs, like fetching them, but like it works 90% of the time, I think, with different links.
Okay. But like 100% of the time with certain format types, like are you saying sometimes it would display WebP and sometimes not?
No, it's depending upon what the link we are using, I think. Because it's suppose I tried with SVG, I tried with PNG, JPEG, and JPG and WebP. Mostly all of them work, but once I use different URL, then it wasn't working. So it might be depending upon the URL which I'm using.
Good. Yeah. So yes is the answer to my question. So are the images embedded or just referenced? If you export the design, it's just a URL.
Oh yeah, it just changed the node background image, and it injects the URL link into that.
Nice. Hey, that new edge type that you were just referring to, or that you're just bringing forth, it's the one that we didn't name, but it looks kind of like this on the left-hand side.
Oh
yeah, the left. Yeah. Anyway, well, do you know what that one's called? That would make for a great org chart, or in that style. Do you know what is that a bus?
That's I think that's
taxi. Oh, there it is.
a taxi.
Bus, taxi. Come on, same thing.
Yeah.
Get technical. Good, great. Anybody else got feedback here or kind of questions? I'd love to see if animated GIF it works. Seems like a pretty straightforward feature, or in terms of.
Yeah, I have a question. Like when we take the screenshot of this thing, then also these images will be present there, or
I think and I hope they should be visible.
okay.
Yeah, I think it will be. Yeah, it will. I haven't tested, but I'm positive that it will be.
Yeah, right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. The shapes that were clipped off, and uh, though where we are using like the hard-coded SVGs to showcase all the components in the component drawer or in the bottom dock, it was just CSS fix. And the issue that was mentioned by Lee here is this clipped or not? And I tested the hard-coded SVG, and it was actually like it is actually this way. It is not clipped. The whole SVG is actually looking like that one. So it's not getting clipped. It's actually the SVG, the hard-coded SVG that we're using has been showcasing itself like this. And I think Abid is working on making it into integration, fetching it from the integration spreadsheet, because the integration spreadsheet, me and Ritik tested few of them, and it was like perfectly working fine without getting clipped. So I think if you fetch the from the integration spreadsheet, and it should automatically fix the issue.
Yeah, did we lose Abid? Good. Yeah, we should please do raise that up with Abid to make sure that we, that they're being sourced from. Well, good. Well, hey, Pranav, we're just a little bit over time. The V08.8 roadmap is out there for everyone. It's there's a request for comment out there. It's incomplete at the moment. We're looking for confirmation of some of your names on there. I think Husseina might have one or two items on there where, well, one of them being about EKS. And who else? There's any number of you might have some items. So yeah, please do make comments or go update it. Each of the entries on the roadmap should ultimately have a design spec next to them. There was a design spec review done this week on models and model generation and the refinement of that. And so we'll get that link to the design spec here. There was a recording of that meeting, and the design specs out there for everybody to review. We'll try to collectively, hopefully we can be using the mailing lists, sending around these for advanced notification to everybody to review them. But this page, for better or worse, might work well as a central point that we can update like what's in the release. One of the things that maybe the project should take as a New Year's resolution is to keep up to speed with documentation as we go. One of the things that held us back from making this last .7 release is just like the release announcement still doesn't mention all the things that were done, all the new features that are in there, still doesn't. And that was, it's in part because Meshery is the 10th fastest growing project out of a couple hundred in the CNCF. So there's a lot going on, but also we didn't necessarily keep pace with documenting as we went. So it was, we're still playing catch up in that regard. So anybody else have thoughts or quick questions on the roadmap thus far? Some things could potentially be postponed. This might be a candidate. Well, give it a thought. There's no There's no dumb question, unless you're asking a dumb question. Then there's no dumb question. Everyone here is very happy to explain things or to be corrected or to be told to show up to meetings so they can get demos. Because that's what Uzair told me to do. So, okay. Anyway, we're off to great. Anybody else have comments? Well, 2024, 3 days in. At least the 27 people that showed up to this meeting are doing something right, Good. And there's a few of you that volunteered to do some things and a few of you that have been conscripted to do some things. But you're being a good sport about it. So Hussein, I thank you for taking on a couple of items. That's it's really helpful. All right. Pranav, is that a wrap?
Yep, that's the wrap for today's call. And don't forget to join tomorrow's newcomers meeting so that if you are new, you'll get a chance to know how things work around the community. I think that's all for today. Thank you all. We'll meet either tomorrow or the next development call. Bye.